In this video I'm going to talk about what I think is the best freestyle settings in Rocket League. I'll go over the sensitivity, dead zones and camera settings. I think that the camera settings are mainly optional and just personal preference, but certain mechanics are easier with different camera settings, what I'll go over in the video. But the actual sensitivity and dead zones, they're actually really important to have the right ones. Lots of people I see have the wrong ones and change to the normal ones and just improve drastically. I'll get into the video now, but make sure to sub to my shorts channel where I upload unique content like new shots and different shots that you won't see on this channel. And also sub to this channel, and I'll get on to the settings now. The first page is just all default for me. It might be a tiny bit different, but just look at them all and copy them. I think input buffer might be a bit different. But on cross-platform play, if you want to have real opponents, I'll turn it on. And if you want 1v1 freestyles and casual, I'll turn it off. That's so you can play more people on your console a lot easier. And it especially works in like controller on PC and also Epic Games. Now for the camera settings, the part you probably came for. And also check out the controls as well, because that's so helpful as well. But on the camera preset, you can have that on any of the pro settings when you're on Baxmod. If you're logged into Baxmod, if you press down the drop menu, you can see all of the pro's camera settings, and that is extremely useful for comp. And then camera shake, turn that off. Any player above like bronze probably has that off. And field of view, I have it at 110. You can have it at 100 as well if you want to. It doesn't make too much difference. I know some people who does use 100, but I just prefer 110. The next one is distance. This one you can have from anywhere from like 240 to 290, 300. Just depends what your preference is. I like camera settings that are really close to the car. This means you can have air dribbles are a lot easier. I find like flip resets and also backboard resets a lot easier as well. Just in general, it's so much easier. But a lot of people have higher camera settings, so like flip resets and stuff like that, they find that a lot easier with it. So it's just personal preference really, but I prefer 250, but kind of in the middle. Now for height. Height doesn't really matter at all. Some people have it higher up for like flip resets. I've got it lower down, so like you can do it on the ball as well. You can dribble really easily. You can see a lot more of the field. Like I have it at 100, but you can have it 111 or a bit higher than that. It doesn't matter too much. But the main ones are 110 and 100. The next one is the angle. This one people also have for flip resets, probably more so for flip resets. Like Gainer, you'll see him have really high angled flip presets, like camera settings for it. But for me, I prefer just -3 or -4. Mostly everyone has -3 or -4. I think Gainer's old settings like -7. Definitely wouldn't recommend that because it's so hard to air dribble or do anything really. So just -3 or -4 is the best. Stiffness is when you like go supersonic and your car like zooms out a bit. I know a lot of people who have it higher towards the bottom, like 0, 0.2 or whatever. This one makes your car a lot more clean when you're doing freestyles. And when it's cleaner, it's normally lower. Higher up's more for like comp. So I'd recommend anywhere from right at the bottom to 0.45, maybe like 0.2 would be best. But this is like makes it a lot cleaner and better to look at in your shots. Then swivel speeds doesn't matter at all really. I've got it 1.4, probably wouldn't recommend it really high up, but it's just personal preference. Transition speeds makes your like cam work look a lot cleaner, and it depends how fast your camera moves to ball cam to car cam. And if you want it like snapping positions, ball to car cam, put it like right at the top. But I like it quite a lot lower because I find it makes the clips a lot cleaner. So I recommend around 1.3, 1.2 to make your clips look a lot cleaner from the car cam. Then inverted swivel, I'm not 100% sure what it actually does. so I do know it's a lot easier to air dribble with it on. I've always had it on. I know that Jaxie and all of those freestylers have it on. I'm not 100% sure what it actually does, but I would recommend having it. Now for my bindings. These ones aren't really necessary to have. This is more personal preference. But I would recommend changing a lot of the settings, like having both air rolls. I think boosting on B or that circle is actually quite important, and leaving your LB and RB just free for any other mechanic. I know a lot of people say boost on RB, so I actually prefer it on B. So I guess it's more personal preference, but it doesn't matter too much, not as much as other people think. I'm not going to explain all of these settings. I'll stop talking now and just go through them one by one. Pause the video when you want to see the settings you want. Now for the controller settings. For keyboards, just forget this and you can move on. But for controller, this is actually really important. I don't think people understand how much this helps you improve. A lot of people just think, oh, this doesn't really matter, it's just preference. I find the camera settings and the bindings, that's more preference. But this is actually a lot more, you have to have this. And I'll explain what each one of these actually does. And I know a lot of people who've actually had really high sensitivity and stuff like that, and lowered it down and improved massively. A lot of people might have really high sensitivity, lower it and think, I'm awful with this, I don't like it at all, let's just put it back to normal. But trust me, you'll get a lot better a lot sooner, and I 100% recommend you actually learn it with a lower sensitivity. For this steering sensitivity, I find it more for the ground, really, for dribbles. I don't know too much about steering sensitivity, but I know for the rest of them. But I'd recommend it having around 2, and any higher is way too high. You can probably have it till like 3 or so, but any higher than that, definitely lower it. Now, aerial sensitivity. This is basically your sensitivity in the air. Steering sensitivity is kind of for both, really. But this one, I would 100% recommend at 2, or a tiny bit higher or a tiny bit lower. The higher it is, the more your musties will be in effect, and the lower it is, the easier your air dribble will be. I find the lower it is, the harder musties are, the higher it is, the harder air dribbles are. And I find it easier to do spinning air dribbles the higher it is, and harder to do just normal air dribbles the higher it is. A lot of people have these settings at like 10, and I 100% recommend to lower it down a lot. But I think 2 is like a good mix between musties and air dribbles, and a lot of different freestylers have 2 or around 2, and same with comp players. You use these sensitivities in comp as well. Now for the controller dead zone. This is basically how easy you'll be to stall, and to do a stall reset you have to have around, I would say 0.15 if you're really good at stalls, up to like 0.4 or 0.5 maybe if you're not as good as them. I've got them around 0.2. I find the higher the car is, the more stiff it feels like, so the lower it is, the better your car feels like and moves around. But you also want like a good setting to stall at as well, and I find 0.2 or 0.23 you can stall really easily and you can move around really well as well. Now the dodge dead zone. I think this one's more for like flipping by accident and stuff like that. I'd have it around 0.5 to 0.8. I know a lot of people have this at different places. I don't think this one matters as much. Like, I've seen people have it like 0.2, I've seen people have it at 0.8. All really good freestylers. I've got it kind of in the middle, 0.7. I'd disable your vibration, turn vibration intensity to 0, and the rest are just default, and I don't know about keyboard because I don't use it. And I'll get into the rest now. But there's not really anything to say for the rest. I'll put some music over it and they're all default. I'll show my presets and all of the other settings as well. So if you want to see them, just hang around and watch over. And I'll see you in the next videos. Make sure to sub and like, and I'll see you then.